Happy Black History Month. Before we start talking about this incredible film, I'm curious, how important is Black History Month for you?
How important is Black History Month to me? I'm from the Republic Democratic of Congo and, well, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I was born there, left when I was at the age of 6, and we grew up in South Africa. And even though I didn't speak the same language as folks from South Africa, like Zulu or Afrikaans for some, what allowed me to integrate with society there was my skin color. And then when I moved to Toronto, the same thing kind of happened. We lived downtown Toronto, and it was a very diverse neighborhood that we lived in. But even though my English was not the best when we first came here, what allowed me to relate with others was the color of my skin. And so now as an adult, it matters for me. And it allows me to connect with others, even though we may not speak the same language or come from the same continent or island or country.
How much has your background growing up and how you grew up, how does it affect your creativity, or does it give essence to your creativity when it comes to filmmaking?
It certainly does. A lot of the things I attract when I'm given the opportunity to create does stem from my upbringing, not only because of my skin color, but also some of the challenges that my mother faced growing up or transitioning in the sense of us getting from South Africa to, getting from South Africa to Toronto. It took 5 years. And so when I create a lot of the characters or a lot of the storylines have to do with things that themes like family or things like love, how people deal with trauma, fighting for what you believe in. And it's really crazy how art mirrors life and life mirrors art. And so the more I improve, especially after graduating from the CFC, I just recently graduated in the producers lab from the producers lab this year. 10 years ago, I was in the actors lab. So I went back, double dipped. It allowed me to really tap into more of my identity. So it's very
Congratulations.
important. Thank you.
I was gonna say congratulations with CFC. I've dealt with them for decades. Incredible organization. Love going to their parties during TIFF.
That's where
Um, yeah, so we met. Yeah, exactly. So I give triple thumbs up to you, my friend, on your journey, which leads to us today because we're going to talk about a film that you are a part of. So I love doing this. What is the film called, and what is it about?
the film is called Sway. Initially, it was titled Spiral, but then during post-production, the team and I decided to change the title to Sway. Two reasons. Spiral was already kind of taken, and the title Sway kind of stood out a bit more, especially with our lead character, Sway, who I had the opportunity to play. And not to give away too much, but in a nutshell, Sway is about a man who has it all, but he's about to lose it all the day after his brother gets drafted in the NFL. He wakes up in the middle of the day, morning, with bangs at his door, and he doesn't know how he's standing or waking up in his. He doesn't know how he's gotten to his balcony, and so he tries to piece things together. At the same time, he finds out his brother, who was just drafted in the NFL, is missing, while also getting ready to do the interview of his life. In our film, he's meeting with EQ, which is basically the equivalent of GQ in today's world. And while that's happening, the interviewer, who was played by Michelle Morgan, she kind of, nonchalantly digs into his past and how he became the businessman that he became, how he changed the neighborhood around him. And so the more she digs into his story, the more he tries to diverge and hide certain things and sweep things under the rug. So some of the themes, again, with our film deals with things like how far someone would go to protect their kin, what people do when they're dealing with trauma, especially Black men, and love as well.
Where did the story come from?
It was actually created, written by Charlie Hamilton, a good friend of mine from Ottawa. When he wrote it, he was living in Toronto. He was actually living in Regent Park. And he's got a lot of background in law enforcement. He understands a lot about politics, and he's such a tremendous writer. So years ago, he had written this as a short film titled Spiral, and he had another short film. And he was shopping the short film around. It couldn't catch fire anywhere. But then he realized that both his short films kind of fell in the same theme, and he merged both shorts and turned it into one feature film. And fast forward, after he wrote the feature, he reached out to me just to read the script. I read it, I loved it, and I said, "Hey, Charlie, if I get an opportunity, I'd just love to be a part of this movie, even if it's just a supporting role. Your writing is really amazing." And initially, he was trying to work with another team, and early 2023, I was really itching to produce a feature film. I had produced shorts, I had produced a web series called Teenagers, and I really wanted to take this opportunity to create my own vehicle. And I started writing something. I'm like, okay, let me try to write this feature, something completely different, and see if I can shoot it in the summertime. If I have to do it for very little, I will. But then I realized, no, this may take some time. And I remembered the script that Charlie had, Spiral. And I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, Charlie, you have the script. It's collecting dust. You're just waiting, for this huge, huge budget." And I don't blame him. It takes a lot of money, a lot of funding and finances to put together a film. And he was trying to piece things together with two of his other friends. And I said, "Look, man, let me do it. If I have to do it for $5,000, I'll do, obviously you can't do it for 5,000. But if I have to do it for that, then I will. I'll figure it out. I would also like to direct it." And he said, "Look, I like you as an actor. I think you could play Sway, the character Sway. Initially, I wanted to play another character. And he's like, you can produce it, but I would like to co-direct it with my friend Zach Revelin." One thing led to the next. I went to Actra, got all the documents prepped, pitched it to some of my actor friends from LA, like Michelle Morgan and Lavelle Adams Gray, and they came on board also as EPs. And one thing led to the next. I shared it with some producers that I wanted to work with for a long time, and one of the producers ended up introducing me to my DP, Chris Moresby, who read the script, loved it. Not only did he want a DP, he came on board as an executive producer as well. And then even the way we found our location, when I read the script, for some reason, I saw this one location I had been to years ago for a TIFF party years ago. And I'd been to that location maybe two, three times. And every time it was during TIFF. It was this lawyer. He kept throwing these parties at his penthouse. So when I read Sway, I told Charlie, I have the perfect location for this place. I mean, for this script. And I connected with one of the producers, and I found out that that lawyer was his lawyer. So he went to his lawyer. We kind of made a deal. It just so happened that that lawyer was good friends with my mentor, Michael Levine, who's also a lawyer. And he's like, "You know what? I like you. You don't have to worry about renting this place. I haven't, I have other spaces," because he was working from home at the time. It was during COVID, right? Well, not really during COVID, but post-COVID. And yeah, we filmed the movie in 6 days. 6 days, and it was just a um how do I say this? It was so passionate. People came on board because they really loved the story. But not only that, I got extremely lucky bringing a team together. I got along so well. From our first AD to our wardrobe and makeup, everybody just gelled. And we all started at 7:30 in the morning and then finished at 7:30 at night because the movie takes place in one day, right? And for other parts of the film, like flashbacks, where we didn't need ADR or any sound, we just um, we just recorded all that stuff after we finished our day at the apartment. But everything worked out. Our DPs were great. We had three cameras. Zach Remelin had his little gimbal getting in there and taking these cool shots. And again, I was very fortunate to trust that, again, that creativity, that instinct of going to somebody like Michelle Morgan and Lavelle Adams Gray, who I thought had the not just the experience, but the depth to bring these characters to life.
Now
And that's just
you're a very soft-spoken person, okay? And the reason why I want to point that is because the film itself is very tense. There is
yeah.
drama on this. So your soft-spokenness doesn't even reflect on like I said, the intensity in this film. What is it like to have that feeling in this throughout this film? Because it's like it's drama, it's suspense, it's mystery, it's so many things built into one day.
Hmm. It's a great question. What does it feel like? Well, first and foremost, I want to give all the credit to God for giving me this creativity, giving me this ability to create, to immerse, and to empathize with characters, to empathize with human beings. When I was starting off my career, one of my jobs that I had was working at a daycare with children. And I worked with kids for over 10 years. And it was probably the one job that really taught me about acting, but not acting in a sense of let me try to entertain, let me try to show that I can memorize all these lines, but acting in the sense of let me understand and empathize with other human beings by understanding understanding these children from the ages of 4 to 12, right? And so when I took on Sway, it was like putting on that hat again, you know? Okay, great, it's intense, but what's happening with the human being? What's going on within the human being, within his heart, within his spirit, and how do I bring that to life? Again, doing your homework as an actor, I took a lot of my experiences from different classes that I took with some of the coaches that I trained with, and also my experience living in LA. And I just kind of like created this jambalaya and trusted the process because things aren't always a smooth, straight line, It's a roller coaster. I mean, 3 days before our film going to camera, I almost pulled the plug. I was so nervous. I was so nervous. I was like, I don't think I can do this. I'm a producer, and like I have to memorize all these lines, 90 pages, but I had to remember that it's not about me. It's about the story. Drop my ego, drop my pride, because sometimes pride is not always, oh, I'm better than, I'm better than. Sometimes pride is, oh, poor me. Why is this happening to me? Like putting yourself down, it's a different face of pride. And so I had to humble myself and trust the team that had come together and trust that God was guiding me, right? And so the care some I remember the first time I watched the take, I was cringing, not cringing in a sense of like embarrassment, but like I was like, oh, I don't remember how all this stuff just happened. It's like the magic of filmmaking and storytelling. Uh, what I learned, again, the more you do your work, the more you do your homework, your mind, your heart, and your spirit, when they're all firing at the same time, th th things just happen that you can't even explain. That's why I say I give the glory to the Most High.
Where do we get a chance to see this film? Where and how?
Sway will be in theaters January 30th at Young and Dundas. and also at Morningside Cineplex in Young and Dundas, and Cineplex in Morningside, and hopefully more theaters. But post that, it's going to land on a streamer as well.
Fantastic. And before we go, what else do you have planned for 2026? Any more
Oh,
films? And am I going to see you at TIFF?
oh my goodness. Well, I'm cooking up something, you know. I can't say too much about it, but I've been able to. I optioned a book. First time I optioned a book, and let's just say it falls in the theme of superheroes or a hero type of character. And I have that in development post graduating from the CFC. But I also have two short films I produced while at the CFC. One called The Moment That Has Gone, and the other one called Tef Seeds, with some of the directors from the CFC as well. So I'm hoping that one of those films or both of them gets into TIFF, if not Cannes in France. That would be amazing. And at the same time, I'm continuing to develop my own things. I'm currently on Murdoch Mysteries, if you know that. You obviously know that show.
Yep.
I'm in season 19. I think they got picked up for another season, so I'll probably be on that as well. And for TIFF, yeah, I'll be at TIFF as always. If I have a film, great. If not, I host my basketball event, Battleground, and I'll be doing that again. So yeah,
Amazing. You know what?
yeah.
I love everything you're doing, my brother. And so
Okay.
glad that we had a chance to have this conversation. Congratulations on the film. Let's make sure we hook up during TIFF. And yeah, anything else you got going on, man? You know this platform's yours.
Yes, indeed. And I hope you watched the movie on the big screen. I know you watched it on, on your laptop or your TV, but please experience the movie on the big screen. There's something about
Mhm.
the sound and the image, like M Michelle Osis and Terry Ben, who composed, who made the score for our film, did such an amazing job. And the sound is so eerie, and it just slowly penetrates into your subconscious, and you just find yourself immersed and traveling and spiraling along because like you're watching on the big screen. So if you get a chance, please, Cineplex, next Friday, January 30th.
Congratulations. Thank you again.
All right.